this video, I'm going to showcase the Artificer class mod for Baldur's Gate 3. The Artificer class is an inventor class, and I'll go ahead and read the first couple of lines so you get an idea. Masters of Invention, Artificers use ingenuity and magic to unlock extraordinary capabilities in objects. They can craft cool potions, they can create robots that follow them, they can make guns, they can do all kinds of stuff, and I'll go ahead and showcase everything that they can do in this video. So with that said, if you like it, leave it a like, consider subscribing for more guides and mod videos, and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Once you reach level 2, you'll be able to use these new features called infusion slots, and these are like Paladin Oath charges, like similar to that type of vibe. And this one lets you use enhanced defense, which makes it to where your armor class is +1 till long rest. This one's enhanced weapon, basically the same thing but for your weapon. And then enhanced arcane focus, +1 to attack rolls with spells. It's a similar vibe across these three. And then repeating shot, this lets it to where you can attack twice in one turn, which is pretty cool for rangers, and you can put that on your teammates as well, not just yourself. And let's go ahead and check out the other ones you can get too. You can get Bag of Holding. This is a really cool spell, and I'll show you what it does here in a minute. And then Radiant Weapon gives you +1 to attacks and makes your weapon have light on it. And then Homunculus Servant. I thought it was going to be cooler, but for me it was just like the regular Find Familiar, but for this class. And yeah, that's all of them. One of my favorite spell additions is Bag of Holding here. You can pause and read all that if you want to, but basically it just makes your equipment load much larger. I really appreciate this one because I always hate running out of equipment load. But if you do use this spell twice, you run into some dimensional issues, so you probably shouldn't do that. At level 3, you'll need to make a choice between one of the 4 subclasses, Alchemist, Armor, Artillerist, and Battlesmith. And I'll quickly go over what each one does, and then later on in the video I'll show in more detail. The first one I want to show is Battlesmith. This lets you summon a Steel Defender, and it lets you summon like Bernard from the Arcane Tower, like the guy on top of it, the robot. And then later on in the game you can unlock Steel Watchers to summon, so that's pretty cool. And then you have Artillerist here. Lets you summon one of the auto turrets outside of the Arcane Tower as like a little companion to help you. And then also you summon a handgun, and then later on at the end game you get a rifle. For the armor, you get Arcane Armor, and this makes it to where you can sort of enhance your armor set, and then it gives you 2 weapons to use, and I'll show you that more in detail later also. And then for the Alchemist, you get Produce Experimental Elixir, and that's exactly what it sounds like. You get some pretty cool elixirs that have some unique effects, and I'll show you those as well. If you decide to go the Battlesmith route, you will get yourself a Steel Defender here that you can use that will follow alongside you and defend you. And it does have a good bit of health as well as opportunity attack, so it's basically just like another party member. And he only has right now an attack called Force Empowered Rend, so he might get more stuff later if you level up, I'm not sure. And if you decide to go the specialization that lets you do the Eldritch Cannon, this right here, you can place it, and it looks just like the cannons outside of the Arcane Tower, so I'm assuming it functions the same way. And then if you do a short rest, you can do it again, and then do Tiny, which adds a gun to your inventory. Right here. I'll let you read these if you want to, but I'll quickly show you what they do. This one is a flamethrower, and he holds it like a gun. It's kind of funny. It's like a Eldritch Blast. Here, let me do it on Karlach here. It's basically false life mass, I'm guessing. And that's pretty cool. I went ahead and did a bunch of Produce Experimental Elixir here, so I can show you which elixirs there are. These are the ones I got out of my limited spell slots I had. This one gives you a bonus to AC. Looks like 2. This lets you fly. Let's see right here. There we go. And this one is a healing one. Looks like a decent heal there. And this one doubles your movement speed, I'm pretty sure. Yep, doubled. And this one gives you a bonus to attack rolls and saving throws. And if you decide to go the Armor subclass, you'll get these two abilities called Guardian and Infiltrator. This one makes your armor stealthy, and this one makes your armor more of like a melee combat type deal. And I'll show you the two emitters you get for using the Guardian mode. These things here, it turns your hands this cool glow, and then also you can use these Thunder Gauntlets abilities that you get. And then the whole class in general is just like thunder and lightning based. Once you reach level 5 on the Alchemist subclass, you'll get Alchemist Savant. And this basically makes it to where if you're using Alchemist supplies as a focus, you gain a bonus to one of the rolls of the spell, and then that roll must restore hit points or deal acid, fire, necrotic, or poison damage, and then that uses your intelligence modifier. At level 5, the Armor subclass gets an extra attack as well as Mirror Image and Shatter. At level 5 on the Artillerist, you'll get the Arcane Firearm passive, and this basically makes it to where you can add a 1d8 damage roll to any spell you cast, as long as you're holding a wand, staff, or rod. And then you also get the Scorching Ray spell as well as Shatter. At level 5, the Battlesmith subclass gets an extra attack, and these two spells here, Branding Smite and Warding Bond. Nothing crazy, but that extra attack is really nice. Once you reach level 6, you'll get another infusion slot, and then you'll also get Sleight of Hand expertise. And then you'll get two new cantrips. The Resistant Armor cantrip here lets you choose an element to be resistant to. And then this one here, Boots of the Winding Path, increases your movement speed and makes it to where you don't provoke opportunity attacks. Once you hit level 7, you'll get a new cantrip called Flash of Genius, and this is a reaction that allows you to add a bonus to an ability check or a saving throw for anybody nearby. Once you reach level 9 on the Alchemist subclass, you get Restorative Reagents, and this makes it to where whenever one of your companions drinks one of your potions, they get temporary hit points equal to that number, and then you can also cast Lesser Restoration anytime you want. At level 9, the Armor subclass gets Perfected Armor, and this makes your armor get additional benefits based on the model. And then you get these two new spells, Hypnotic Pattern and Lightning Bolt. At level 9, you get the Explosive Cannon for the Artillerist, and this makes it to where your cannon's damage rolls are buffed, as well as you gain the ability to detonate the cannon and explode it, which could just be helpful for some extra damage. And then also you get the Fireball spell as well as Gust of Wind. Once you reach level 9 on the Battlesmith, you'll unlock Arcane Jolt. This just makes it to where whenever you make a weapon attack, you can do extra force damage, or you can restore hit points to a nearby creature or construct. Once you reach level 10, you'll get a bunch of new cool stuff. A new infusion slot, as well as Magic Item Adept. This lets you have +1 to attacks when casting spells, while holding a magic weapon. And then you have Alchemical Adept here. This lets you create consumable items like barrels, oil barrels, smoke powder satchels, all kinds of cool stuff really. And then you have Salvage Elements. This lets you salvage the elements of an item in the world, and that's what you use to craft your consumables, and I'll show you that here in game here in a second. And then you have Replicate Magic Item. This lets you craft a really cool, unique item, and it gives you a choice between like 5 or 6 of them, and I'll go ahead and show you those as well. And real quick, I'll go over what Alchemical Adept, Salvage Elements, and Replicate Magic Item actually do. And for Alchemical Adept, you'll need to first salvage something, and you can do that on any item in the game. That will salvage it and extract its elements, and then that will give you one of these. And then you can use that in turn to use Alchemical Adept and craft any consumable you'd like. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a smoke powder satchel. You can see it right here. Now I have a smoke powder satchel, and those do a ton of damage. And then the replicate magic item spell lets you create a cool, unique item, and I'll show you what this one is. And then after this one, I'll just put the rest of them on screen like a picture. And you can see it sets your strength to 20, which is absolutely crazy, but it is a 10th level spell. So, and then I'll go ahead and let you see the rest of them and just stand here. If you're an alchemist in particular at level 10, you get an additional use out of your salvage elements, and that's alchemical mastery. And that lets you use the charges you get from salvaging stuff to create the stuff you use to make stuff. So, here you go. Not sure what not found is here, but I'm sure it mimics one of the stuff in game. Once you reach level 11, you'll get spell storing item, and this just basically lets you craft scrolls for spells, any kind of spell you'd like here. I'll do Ray of Sickness. And now I have a Ray of Sickness scroll, and these last until long rest, and then you can craft up to as many as your intelligence modifier, so I could make 20. And now that I'm level 12, I'll quickly go over all of the spells that you can choose through the game. It's mostly a mix of thematic spells that alter your character in ways like flight or blink or invisibility, grow, stuff like that. And then there's acid spells and poison spells for like the alchemical side. But it's mostly just the wizard spells. Nothing new here. I believe there's a mod you can download to get newer spells, but I'll leave that for another video. And I'm not going to go over every spell here, but you can see it's generally the wizard spells. And then once you reach the end game, Act 3, you can head down into the lower city sewers, and then go to the guild hall, and speak with Sticky Dondo. And then he'll sell these new Artificer-only endgame items, the Draconic Deconstructor. That's a lot to read, so I'll just let you go ahead and do that. And then there's a lesser version, as well as 4 armors that interact with each subclass. And then a schematic that lets you summon a Steel Watcher, the big dudes that Gortash has on them, so that's pretty nice. Now I want to check out the in-game items for Battlesmith. And these in-game items are the armor here and the schematics for a Steel Watcher. This lets you summon one of those Gortash Steel Watchers. And then you can see the armor here. I already showed it to you earlier, but it gives you that extra attack and damage bonus, and I'll go ahead and use both of those. Here, let's do this one. There's Steel Watcher. You can tell he's a little bit smaller, but he's still pretty cool. And I'll go use my lightning thing on him. And here you see him. He gets Misty Step, Goading Roar, which is a taunt, and then he gets this heal and Force Powered Rend. The in-game armor for the Artillerist enhances your tiny gun, your Eldritch Cannon, and turns it into an actual rifle, and you'll see that in a second. And then you also get Eldritch Cannon Overdrive, which gives your cannon Chain Lightning, and I think maybe something else. We'll go ahead and show you. Here's the tiny gun. And as you can see, it's now, instead of a handgun, it's a rifle. And each of the abilities are actually buffed, so these ones do way more damage. Alright, and I'll show you the cannon.
I'll feel that one later.
And I'll use the lightning thing on it. And now you can see it has Chain Lightning, it can fly, and then it has Flamethrower as well, and Protector. Basically the same abilities as the other two, minus the Eldritch Blast. So it actually does have Force Ballista, never mind. And then there's Self-Destruct. That's the, I believe, level 9 ability we got. And I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. For the Alchemist, you get the robe, the robes of the Alchemist. And this lets you deal acid damage and gain a barrier that way. And then you can also summon an ooze. So I'll go ahead and show you that. And that gave me this barrier. It doesn't seem to have a spell effect, but it does show up. And then also the ooze should be in here somewhere. If I can find him. There he is. And there's your ooze. For the armor, the endgame armor, all it really does is have a similar effect to the poison set, which lets you get a barrier, and then that barrier explodes, dealing damage. And then also, when your arcane model is active, you gain no disadvantage on stealth checks, and that's a heavy armor with 20 DC, so that's pretty nice. And that's about all you get for the armor at the endgame. And real quick, I'll walk you through installing the Artificer class mod. It's really easy. Just go to the Artificer class mod page. It'll be in the description for the link. And then go down to BG3 Mod Manager. This is also in the description. Then go here, get the latest zip, and then extract it. Let me go ahead and delete these two. That'll extract the Mod Manager, and you can place that wherever you'd like. Go ahead and open it up. It's going to detect before when I had the mod installed, so don't worry about that. That won't pop up for you. Then we can go back over here, back into the Artificer class and all subclasses, and then hit manual download. It's going to pop up with this. It means it needs these mods to work properly. The other mod that it needs is Mod Fixer, and then one of the improved UI and assets as well. These three links are all the same links, so don't click more than once. Then go over to your Mod Fixer and manual download. That popped up there. Now go over to Improved UI, Release Ready, and you'll download both the Improved UI and the assets. The assets give you the buttons you need for the class. And now we should have everything we need in our downloads here. Yep, and we can go ahead and extract all of these. We'll do them one by one. Mod Fixer. Extract it, and then I'll go into here, import mod, find the folder, Mod Fixer, and then look for the pack file. That's that one installed. Then we can go back and extract another one. Next up, we can do Improved UI. That's extracted. Then we'll do the same thing. Import mod. Improved UI, pack, and then we can do Improved UI assets, and that's the final one. Import, Improved UI assets, and that's all of them done. And then we can do the Artificer class finally. Go ahead and download. That one might take a second. It's a little bigger than the other ones. And then you can extract the Artificer class mod and install it the same way you did the other ones. And then drag over here. That turns the mod on. Make sure it's the first one in your load order. And then also Improved UI. I believe these ones also just sort of work as they are right down here. So go ahead and hit this, export order to game. And that will save the settings on a TXT file. And then next time you launch the game, the mod should work. Yep, and as you can see here, I have the Artificer class unlocked, and it's perfectly playable and will work. And I actually didn't run into any problems at all while testing, or any bugs really, besides that one spell not having a name. And that's pretty much it. And that brings me to the end of the video. If you liked it, leave it a like, subscribe for more guides and mod videos to come, and I'll see you in the next one.